All right, hello out there. Should be getting started any second now, and yeah, I guess welcome everybody. Welcome to the stream. We're going to be going through some different kind of game development today. Something that I don't normally do. Let me make sure I'm in focus and everything. Both things are a little bit weird. I just changed out a couple things, so stuff might be a little bit weird just getting started. But yeah, the plan today is to do something a little bit different. We're going to build out a dialogue system and some voiceovers into it. So it's something I've been looking at just a lot recently, and something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. So I figured why not just do it in a live stream since I haven't been online for a few days. Now, when we talk about dialogue systems, if you haven't already seen the video about dialogue systems that I released today, just make sure that you go click on the link in the description and hit the watch later button. Kind of talk a little bit about, I guess, like a brief primer of what I'm going to go over today. But if you've never seen a dialogue system, then I guess you've never played like a role playing game or a game on I guess, a video game at all. Because pretty much every game, or not every game, but most games that you're going to run into have some sort of dialogue where it shows some text, the players pick some options, and then more stuff goes on and happens. Right? It's usually just a way to tell the story or progress the story, or sometimes it's the only way that the story is told. Usually, not the best way to only tell the story, but anyway, you get the idea. So let's talk about dialogue systems today. We'll talk about how to put voiceovers into them, how to implement them in Unity, and yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm going to switch to desktop mode right now so everybody can see where we're going to start, where we're going to add some dialogue, and the things that we're going to work with, and so I can just get started and shut up about what I'm going to do and just show you how to do it. So here I just pulled up a demo dungeon scene. I actually grabbed the Cinti demo or the Cinti dungeon pack. I thought it was a really cool pack, and it was one of the ones on sale. So I'm going to use this as the starting point or the level for my story and my dialogue between some NPCs. I think I'll start by just setting up some NPCs standing there talking back and forth, and you're controlling one of them. Then you can see where it goes because I don't want to design too much beyond the dialogue part. I want to make sure that this kind of fits well into whatever project or game you're actually working on yourself. So before we get too deep into the dialogue stuff, I'm just going to take two NPCs, drop them kind of right out in front of my camera, and then use them as like the starting basis for my story and the whole system in general. So here we've got the camera aimed, looks like right over at this area. I'm just going to go grab two characters from the prefab section. Maybe I'll take what do we got? A hero knight, a human knight. And I'm going to take the male characters just because I think I'm going to use male voices for this one. If you want to use female ones, obviously you can just swap it out. And then I'll take, let's see, I got that hero knight, and maybe I'll take the goblin. Maybe like a goblin and a knight talking to each other. I think that'll be good. Let's see if this thing came with animator controllers. Nope, doesn't look like it. So we need to give this guy a little bit of an animation if he doesn't have one. Let's see. Do they have animations on these characters? I'm gonna guess no, and I'm gonna need to go grab an animation pack. That's not a big deal though. We'll just go to the package manager real quick and grab some animations. I just want to make them idle while they talk, otherwise they're gonna look stupid, and I want them to look cool while we're doing this. So let's grab some animations. I already have animation packs. Make sure that you're in package manager. Packages is set to my assets so you can see your asset store packs, and then just grab whatever animation pack you actually like off of there. I'm gonna use, I think, let's see. Let's search for the word I searched for animation. What did I find? Oh, I could use the basic motions or the basic motion free. Let's see. Maybe I'll just use basic motion free since that one everybody has access to. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll grab this one. So it looks like there's an update to it. So I'll just grab the latest versions of it, and then we'll download it and import it. This would just be some basic free animations. Again, I just want an idle. I could set this up however I want, but I want the characters to look decent before we give them text and have them start talking and waving their hands or whatever kind of stuff I want to hook up with that as well. Then may as well hook up animation triggers to our dialogue. So let's go. Now I've got my two animations in there. Let's make an animator controller real quick. So I'll just go into the assets folder, create a new folder, animation. Whoops. Oh, let's rename that with a capital A. And in here, I'm just going to give it a quick controller, an animator controller right there. And we'll call this characters. It's going to be relatively generic. And then in the animator controller, we'll just add in that idle animation. So it was under Kevin Iglesias. And then we'll go to basic animations, animations, idles. And let's just take a basic idle animation like that. I think that should be good. If I make sure that that's on a loop, see, animation, loop is on. Yep, they should just kind of stand there like that. Looks good. Let's go back over to the scene view, select the two characters, and assign that animation controller now. We've got the animator controller. Oh, look at that. They already had one that was set up for idle, so I'll just use that. I don't even need to make an animator controller. I should be able to hit play, see the guy's animating now, and then start adding some dialogue to him. There we go. Pretty good. I want to move the camera down a little bit closer, though. So let's take the camera, get it into position. I think it's way back there. I think I want to move it down like this. Maybe right around here. Control-Shift-F to move it to where I am. You can see it moved with the preview. And we'll save that off. Okay, now let's go into dialogue. So now I've got my two NPCs there, and I want to make them start talking back and forth. I want to have me be controlling one and like selecting the options for him, and then the other guy is responding back to me or something. And the system that we're going to use today is called Ink, and it's free. It's freely available, and it's been recommended by a few people. I've tried it out quite a bit. It seems relatively powerful and good and simple to use and pretty straightforward. There are a lot of dialogue options out there. So if you want to add a dialogue system to your game, you can pick whatever you want. This is just one of the many options, and it's one of the ones that I found that was relatively unopinionated. You really don't have to do much to make it work in your game. They have a little demo script that kind of handles most of it, and then you can write just a little bit of code to hook it in and have everything work kind of how you want. Um, I'll just dive into how we actually use the system though. First, you want to make sure that you actually grab it, download it from the package manager. You grab it on the asset store. There's a Ink Unity integration pack. So if you grab that, you'll see it in here. If I just search for Ink, here we go. It's the Ink Unity integration, and it looks like it's on version 1.0 as of what is that, February 23rd? Okay, so relatively recently. It's pretty simple to pull in, and it'll give you this folder right here that has a demo folder and editor folder because it has some editor tooling in Unity, which is kind of nice. I don't use it very much, but it's kind of neat. And then in here, it's got the demos. So let's go take a look at the demo real quick, and then we'll see how we can integrate the dialogue demo with our characters here in this demo, and then see how we can start building out an actual system that's a little bit more usable than the demo. So we'll go to the basic demo. Oh, I did the mistake. So I mentioned this in the video that I did, that the demo folder actually has the Unity package in it that extracts out and updates your demo. So if you mess up the demo files, you can just go restore them by opening that. But there's also the basic demo scene file. It looks exactly the same, and it's easy to get them mixed up. So let's hit play and watch the dialogue appear. So first we'll just run through the dialogue, then we'll look at how the dialogue's set up, and then we'll take a look at the code, see how it works, and how we can use it to build out a really cool dialogue system that works with NPCs instead of just text up on the screen. So here you can see the text for the story. I looked at Monsieur Fogg, and then I have two options. The second option here actually just kind of ends the story. So I click on it, and it says, "But I said nothing. We passed the day in silence." Has an option to just restart the story, go back to the beginning. And you can see it just kind of kicked back right to the beginning when I click that. If I pick this next option, it actually branches down quite a bit. And we're going to take a look at that branching again in just a second in the editor. But you can see I can click on these options and go through and keep clicking more and more options, and then eventually get back to the end of the story. And the end of the story always ends with, "We passed the day in silence." So let's see what this looks like in the actual text, what the story looks like. And then we'll talk about how it's read in code, how we can add to it, and how we can make it start triggering different events and playing audio and all that other fun and cool, I think more exciting stuff than just seeing text. So the first thing that we need is the Ink editor here. And this is a little bit too early on. Let's open a file here in the Ink editor. And you can download this from, what is it, inkstudios.com? I'll pull it up in just a little while. But it comes with this story.ink file inside of our demo. And when you use the Ink editor, it'll basically look like this, but it also gives you, let me move this one out of the way real quick. It gives you on the right a little way to preview or test out your story before you're actually in game. One of the weird things with this is that it works outside of Unity completely. It works outside of game engines completely. It's just kind of like its own built-in storytelling thing that just happens to also have easy integration into Unity and Unreal and other things. So here you can see the first text, the intro text, and then the options. The text was right there on line 1. Then option number 1, the "I could contain myself no longer" that we saw, was number 2. And then at the same indentation here on line 17, there was the option of "But I said nothing." And then either one of these eventually ends with the "Pass the day in silence." But if I pick the first option, I go down into, well, first this text here. So it says these 2 lines of text. And then it gives me some more options, and the options are on line 5 and 15. let's just take a real quick look at that one more time in the editor. We'll play through it real quick so you can see. Actually, you know what? Why did it play in the editor? Let's do it right here in the little dialogue thing. So I click on it, and you can see that it played these 2 lines of text, and now I've got these 2 options, a wager or ah. And if I pick a wager, notice that after a wager, it has the exclamation mark here, but here it has square braces and I returned. What that actually does is it makes it so that when I click on this text, bam, it replaces it with the extended out text. So it's kind of like you click it and or you choose it, and then it shows the extra words there in your option. Which is kind of like a cool way to do that. Another thing that's built in. And then after I pick that one, you can see I've got my next set of options, these 2 right here. And I pick either one, it's going to go to he nodded again. Then I've got my next set of 3 options here. And I'll just pick whatever this modest wager one, and it should show me the 20,000 pounds. And then what it's going to do is follow down. It's going to go to this line right here. No, not that line. It's going to go up 1 line and then go up 1 more line. So it's basically going to back out and indent out, kind of like it does in code. That's how the dialogue text works. We're going to create our own story real quick, and then we'll go through the actual code and see what the code looks like. So what I wanted to do was just go File, New Project, and let's get this other one out of the way, and just start writing out a very simple story between these 2 NPCs. So let's stop playing, go look at these 2 NPCs one more time. If I go back into my Polygon dungeon demo and my scenes, and I'm just going to pull the scene up here so I've got them side by side. Both of the scenes now open. So I got my knight and my goblin, and they're going to talk. So let's write in some dialogue here in our new file. So instead of once upon a time, I'll say, hello, goblin. It's, and then comma, it's time to start our story. And then the goblin could say something like, are you sure you want to do it now? Or, I'm not sure I'm ready for a story. There. So I got 2 options there. So I've got some text here. And then, oh wait, and then at the end, let's see, what does he do? The story was terrible. There we go. So we'll save this off. I'm going to give this a name now. We're just going to save it as a .inc file. And I'm going to save it into that same basic demo folder that the other file was in, just so that it's easy to find. And we'll call this Goblin. This will be my goblin.inc story. So this will be the simple dialogue, the start of it for this goblin text or this goblin setup. So let's go hook that up real quick. Let's go to our basic demo here. So this is the demo for Ink. This is the demo for the Cinti world here. We're going to expand out the demo for Ink right now. We're going to go into the canvas and we're going to take a look at how this is set up, swap out the story, and then we're going to write our own code to make the dialogue handling a little bit better and a little bit less of a demo. So here, if you look at this canvas, let's collapse the rect transform and the canvas part. We've got a basic Ink example script on it. The basic Ink example script has 4 different fields on it. 1 for our story, 1 for the canvas, 1 for the text, and 1 for the buttons. So let's change out the story first. I'm going to click on the story. That'll bring it up in the project view and take me right to the folder. And I can just find the goblin story now. Let's click on it one more time. You can see it's this file right here with that icon. I'll just take the goblin one and drop it in. If I save my scene now and hit play, I should expect to see my new text for my new story. See it. So it says I looked at Monsieur Fogg and could contain myself no longer. So that obviously didn't work. So let's take a quick peek at what happened there. Did my goblin file save? Let's save. Go check this thing out. Hello, goblin. It's time to start our story. Let me hit play one more time. Interesting. Why is it playing the wrong file here? What's going on? Let's take a look. I'm not sure what's going on here. We've got our story right here. We can play it. Stop and load. Interesting. Oh, you know what? I wonder, did I break the code here? No. The reference is correct. It's loading. Let's see. Let's just do a quick debug on it. I'll put a breakpoint here in the start story method. We'll run, we'll attach, and we'll just see why it's not loading the correct story. Or why it's showing the wrong story. Watch it just work now because I did a rebuild. I wonder if it's just a build issue. Okay, so we've got our text asset here. I'm gonna put the mouse over it. Yeah, it says it's got the right text there. So I bet if I hit F5 and go in, it's gonna be like, oh wait, hold on. Oh, something else is starting it. Oh, okay, I know what's going on. No, I don't. But there are two things starting this. I thought I knew what was going on for just a second. I thought maybe there was another basic ink example in here. What is firing it off? Okay, let's try this again. So we'll re-add our breakpoint. We'll hit play. We'll find the cause of this real quick. It should be something simple. All right, so we've got the correct one here in start story and basic ink examples. Oh wait, that looks good. But now I'm getting another basic ink example awake, and it's got another story. Okay, something strange is going on. So there must be two of that script here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, okay, yeah, there are two. That's why. So the scene controller. What's the scene controller here? Where's the scene controller? Oh, okay. My bad. So it looks like I accidentally added it in two places. So it was on there and it was on the canvas. I must have dragged that script up there and not noticed it. So let's try it one more time without the duplicate script on there. So good thing to notice, I guess. Hopefully that was helpful. So here we go. We've got our text. Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story. And then I've got my two options. Are you sure you want to do it now? Or I'm not sure I'm ready for a story. And then click on it and it's going to say, hey, the story was terrible. End of story, restart. Cool. So now I've got some very simple dialogue and I've got it showing up in here, but I want to make this play some audio next. So before we write a whole bunch of story, I want to go through the process of adding in some audio files, adding in a hook so that we can play the audio files, and then give you the opportunity. If you want to write out a giant story, you can, but we'll write out a couple more lines. And then I want to give you the process really instead of my terrible story writing because I'm not a great story writer. So, how are we going to grab some audio for this? Let's go take a look at our text one more time. I need, hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story in one voice. And then I need the Goblin to reply back in another voice with some more stuff. So, what do we do? I could record my voice, I guess. Like I could use some voiceover software and do voice changers. I've actually tried that. It's a lot of work and it's not very good for me personally. Like I do a terrible job at it and I feel really uncomfortable talking. But one of the things that somebody reached out to me about recently and showed me was this really cool stuff from Replica. That's I think Replica Studios, and they've got this voice generator thing, and I guess you can try it out for free. From what I understand, anybody can just go try it out for free. But it lets you just automatically generate voices based on text. Well, I say automatically. It's not like it's generating them in game. It's going to generate the audio files, and then we can pull them into the game and hook them up. So a lot like we would do if we just went to like Fiverr or some outsourcing studio or something to get a bunch of voiceovers done. It's going to give us the same thing, but we can do it without any turnaround. It's super simple and it was really cool. So I'm going to show you how I used it and how we can start pulling in some voices, turning some of this text into voiceovers and extending it out and then hooking it into the actual dialogue so that it shows up. So let's go into the actual application for this. There's the Replica Studios application, and here I'm going to just clear out all of my existing takes. And then let's go to the voice library part. And I'm not sure if this is actually going to show up on stream. This is something I should have thought through in advance to make sure that you were actually going to hear desktop sounds. So let me make sure that desktop sounds are actually on. The desktop audio is on, and play something.
Might I ask why you have come to Agatha?
There we go. It looks like it's on and playing. So if it's not on and there's an issue, please somebody let me know in chat. But I think that it's working. So I'm gonna go for a couple of different voices. Now, if you go into here and you go to the voice library, is it in the voice library or the sandbox? Somewhere in here there was an option to find voices that only have. Where was that option? There was an option on the left. Apparently I'm missing it now. I don't know. They'll let me filter down the voices to only the ones that had a bunch of different inflections. But I have a good idea of the ones that I wanted. There was one that looked kind of like a dwarf character. Where was that guy? And I think I want to use him and one of these other ones. Where are they? I wish I could find that filter now. I don't know what I did with it. So there's this gray guy.
Hello, stranger. Needing a new set of armor, are you? I mainly specialize.
I think I'll use this for the, this will be the human guy, the guy that says, "Hello, Goblin, it's time to start our story." So I'm gonna copy the text here for that dialogue, and then I'll go select this guy. Let's see, where did I go? I think I need to go into the dashboard? Sandbox. Okay, sandbox. Oh, okay, I've already got gray select. Ah, there we go. There's the search box. So if you hit the box in there and then you get this pop-up, you can choose number of styles, and if you choose 3 plus, it seems to have the ones that are like the most fleshed out and the ones that have the most options on them. So I'm gonna go with this gray one, and I think I liked decorative.
Quiet. We don't have time for bickering.
Actually, I'm gonna use this for the human guy. So let's select this one, and I'll paste in my text. "Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story." And then I can just hit play and listen to it. Let me drag this over and make sure it's all the way on the screen. Take a
Hello,
look.
Goblin. It's time to start our story.
Seems good. So then I can just hit save take, and it's gonna download a file. So I hit save take, and then then I hit download. Then hit download the MP3, and I want to put this into, let's see, let's find the right folder here. So I've got my project folder. I'm gonna create an audio clips folder in here. Could be a voiceovers folder as well, I guess. And then I'll hit show in Explorer, find that path. Got the path right here. I'll copy it, and then we'll paste it in, and I'll start using this as where I want to save. Now, I don't want to use this giant weird GUID file name. I want to just make it actually be the text. So I'm going to paste in the same text that I used in my dialogue. Let's go into the dialogue. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it in and just get rid of all the special characters and the spacing. Now, how you manage the audio files, totally up to you. I'm keeping it super simple here. I'm sure people are going to have all kinds of different opinions on like the way that the files should be saved and organized and everything else. But I'm just going to keep it simple, drop them into the folder for now, and then start playing them. So I've got the first clip there. "Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story." Now let's go grab the other 2 clips, and then we'll hook it all up. I feel like yeah, maybe we should go hook it. Let's go hook it up, and then we'll jump back and grab the clips. That way we can kind of go back and forth and get a little bit of practice back and forth going both ways. So we need to hook this up so that it plays. That means that we need to understand how the dialogue system is actually working, what that demo is doing, and how we can hook into it. So what we're going to do is go into the canvas here and go find this basic ink example script. This is the one that comes with the ink system, and open it up. I'll open it right here. Let's just resize this so that it fits nicely onto the screen for you. And then let's take a quick peek. So first thing to notice is that they put their serialized fields at the bottom, like a friend of mine who I think is crazy for doing that as well. But all the serialized fields are down here. So the story that you saw that we selected, the ink JSON asset, the canvas, actually the story you're not seeing. You're just seeing the text asset. You're seeing the canvas though, the text prefab, and the button prefab, and this ink JSON asset, which is actually a text asset, which just allows you to load in any text file and actually read the text or the data bytes. If you've never used a text asset, they're pretty useful. It's something to understand and take a quick peek at. But you can basically pull in a text file and then, like I said, read the data or read the text directly out of it, easily in code with the .text property of it. All right, so let's see how this thing works. Let's go look at the awake method first, and we'll zoom this way in. No reason not to make it giant. So in the awake method, it removes all of its children and then starts the story. So remove all children. I'll give you a quick preview of what that does. It removes all of the buttons. That's it. And the text. The text, it deletes all those objects. We'll go take a peek at it in a minute. That's essentially what it does. Then we call start story. Start story creates a new story object out of that text assets text. So it creates a story using the constructor here of story, which just takes in text. So if you look at the open parentheses there, see that the parameter is just a JSON string. So we pass in the text, it creates a new story object, which is kind of where all of this magic is happening. And then it registers for this, or no, it doesn't register. It calls back to the onCreate story event if that's registered for. Now, the reason that it does this is for this little ink player dialogue example. So that's the whole reason that that thing exists, is just so that you can have the little player here in the debugger part going on. So that's what this event is. Then it calls refresh view, and this is where pretty much all of the work for this whole ink system happens. So in refresh view, again, it removes children. So kind of redundant, right? Don't need to remove children if we're removing children again, but whatever. It removes the children. Then it says, while the story can continue, it will call story.continue and get the text back. And this actually just gets the next line of the story text. It trims it out and then pops it onto the screen. The comments kind of easily tell you what's going on too. If you just read through them, just displays the text on the screen. So let's take a look at create content view though. It actually instantiates a text prefab and then sets its parent inside the canvas. So that's how they're doing it. Instead of changing the text on there, it's instantiating a prefab. That's one thing I would definitely change in a real version of this. The next thing it does, it goes through all of the possible choices. So remember when we look at the choices here, we've got are you sure? And I'm not sure, I'm ready for a story. Those are going to be the two things that it's going to go through. So it's going to say, hey, if there's more than 0 of them, which there are, then loop through them and then get the choice. So to get each choice, basically this could just be turned into a for each loop. Let's do that. Convert to a for each loop. There we go. So it's going to loop through each button or each choice. It's going to create a button for that choice. And then it's going to, oh wait, why did it? Oh, it doesn't need that. No, we just get rid of that. Sorry. The refactor did a little bit of weirdness. So it's going to get the button or create the button for it. And then it's going to add a listener to call on click choice button. And it's going to pass in this choice. So essentially it's just creating a button for each one and then saying, hey, this is the choice, binding that choice to it so that when we click on that choice, it knows how to continue the story. The other thing it does, the last thing it does is if there are no choices left, it just adds a new button. So it creates a new button that says, hey, end of story. You want to restart it. And then it adds a listener to that button to just restart the story. The last thing I want to look at here is on click choice button. Let's go take a peek at it. Here you see that it just says, hey, set the choice index to the choices.index property, which is an ID for it, and then refresh the view. So not a whole lot going on there, right? That's the entire process here. So let's think about how we would improve this or how we could extend it. So what I want to do, I guess I don't really want to make this thing too much better. I want to hook in the audio clips first before we start making things improve. So let's actually make it work and do what we want. So right here in our refresh view, let's zoom out a little bit. After we go through the story or as we go through the story and we read the text, we can actually read what are called tags from the story. So what I can do is right here on line, I'll add 2 more lines and go line 39. We'll zoom in a little bit. And I'll say, for each var tag in story.current tags. This is going to give me a list of tags that are associated with the line. Then what I could do is parse those tags out and do something with them. So I'll say if tag.starts with, and I'm going to start it with, let's call it clip dot. So if it starts with clip dot, then do something. Then we'll figure out how to play the clip. So let's see how we would add a tag that starts with clip dot to the story real quick, how we'll hook that up and make it all actually work. I'm going to go back into the editor here. And right here after this hello goblin, it's time to start our story. I'm just going to add a hashtag clip or pound sign or number sign clip or a C# sign clip, right? And then we'll say clip dot, and I want to put hello goblin. It's time to start our story. Now I'm doing the entire text here with no spaces, no punctuation, and just no punctuation and no spaces. Really keeping it nice and clean. We could use whatever format or whatever pattern you really like, but I like having it just be the exact text because it's easy for me to match everything up. I don't have to play an audio clip to know what it says. So I'm going to double click on that and copy that and save that off. And then I'm going to go find my audio clip here. So make sure that I find my audio clip and make sure that it matches. So I'll just go hit F2 and rename it so that it actually matches. The main reason there just being that I wanted the casing to be good so that I can read it without it having spaces in it and still understand what it's saying without having to slowly read through it. So I've got my text object there, or my audio clip object there. Now I just need to make it play in the editor. So let's go, or in the dialog, not the editor. Let's go back into our code. And then when we have our tag that starts with the clip, let's get the tag name or the clip name now from it. So the tag is actually going to say pound clip dot our full text, right? The hello goblin, it's time to start our story. I don't want to hard code that in here or anything though. So what I want to do is get the name from it. So I'll say var clip name equals tag dot substring, and we'll use clip dot in quotes dot length. So we're going to use the start index is going to be the length of the beginning part of the clip dot. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. Actually, I think I need the hashtag there. So it'll be 6 characters. Hashtag clip dot. That'll be the beginning of it. So we'll start from that part of it. And then we'll take the length of it, which will be tag dot length minus the clip dot length right there. So it's essentially -6. The reason that I like to do it like that, though, is just so that I don't have a hard-coded magic number there that I'm trying to figure out what it is if I look at it later. Or I just know that I want to take a substring of this, basically, without this clip dot part. The other way I could just do it is like do a clip dot or tag dot remove and remove that clip and get the name too. So anyway, we've got the name or the name of the clip here, and I just need to find it now, find that audio file, and make it play. So let's say play clip name. I'm going to generate a method for that, and then we'll go implement the method. So here we've got our play clip method. We got a clip name, and we just need to get the clip from the clip name out of some sort of a storage, and then we need to make it play from an audio source. So we'll get an audio source, we'll cache it, and then we'll cache all of our audio clips into a dictionary and then look it up too. So let's first, let's cache all of our audio clips. Let's make it so that they're available. Now, since they have all their serialized fields at the bottom here, I'm just going to add it to the bottom. Again, not where I would normally put it, but hey, I want to match and make everything kind of line up. Now, I did hit Control-K, Control-D there to fix the formatting because even though I want to put the serialized fields at the end, I don't want to have the serialized field tag on every line. So I want to just kind of clean that up a little bit. It did ruin my highlighting too, though. Kind of a pain. There we go. Save and fix it. All right, so let's add a new serialized field here. Let a serialized field, I can spell it right. And this is going to be a list of audio clips. And I'll call this audio clips. Let's add the S there. I'm going to get rid of these private keywords because I don't need them. And then I'm going to add the using statement, import missing references, which is going to add the using system.collections.generic up here. So it added that so that my list started working. All right, so I've got my list of audio clips. I also want to have a dictionary I mentioned. So we're going to create that, and then we'll talk about how it works for anybody that's not familiar with dictionaries. We'll make a dictionary of string for the key. This is a way to look it up. So it's a way to look up the thing by a string or by the name. And then the type will be an audio clip. And we'll call this clips. And we're going to actually instantiate this as a new dictionary. So I'm not going to have this one be a serialized field. This is going to be one that gets automatically created or automatically generated by these clips. I'm going to get rid of that private keyword because I don't need that there as well. Now I'm going to make a method to fill up that clip method. Actually, let's go up to where I would do it from first. So let's see. Got all this stuff here. I'm going to collapse refresh view. We go in our play clip. No, not in our play clip. Let's see. Where are we going to do this? So in awake, actually, let's create a method. I'm going to get rid of this comment. Actually, I'll leave the remove children for now. Let's add a method called Initialize audio clips. I got to spell that right. There we go. Alt enter and generate the method. And then in this method, what we want to do is loop through each of our clips. So do a for each var clip in audio clips in our list of clips. Whoops, that went up to the wrong spot. There we go. Enter. Get my braces right. And then we're going to loop through each of these clips and then just add them to our dictionary. So say underscore clips, which is our clips dictionary. You can see the dictionary type right there. .add. And we're going to add the clip.name and then the clip. So this will just fill up that dictionary. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to change here with this, though. Right now, this is going to give them all, I guess it's going to put them all in by name. But it's going to match the casing and stuff. So I guess that's the number one thing that I want to fix first is let's just take a peek at it before I change it. So say that I had this with a lowercase h here in the file system, right? Let's say it happened to be a lowercase h there. And then in my text file, I had an uppercase h. It wouldn't match when I start to do the lookups and stuff. So what I want to do, well, they could match, but I would have to do some checking on them. What I think I want to do is to lower this name. So I'll just do a to lower. I could do to lower and variant. I'm just going to leave it as to lower for now. And then eventually I think I would probably want to strip out any special symbols. But in file names, there really aren't going to be any special symbols. So I think the only thing I want to strip out is spaces. So let's do that too. So we'll say it's the name to lower. Actually, let's add a line here. And then we'll add dot replace and we want to replace spaces with empty space. Oops, double quote. There we go. Just like that. Now, the reason that I want to do that, let's take a look here, is if we go in here, if we add spaces into this, they actually become separate tags. So we can't have spaces in our names. We need to make sure that there are no spaces in our tags. The tags actually get separated out by spaces. So, okay, we've got our thing replacing, or let's see, it's removing the spaces, lowering them, putting them into our clips dictionary. The last thing we need to do is pick one and actually play it. So in our play clip, what we can say is var clip equals, and we have a clips dictionary. So we do clips dot, and we use try get value. We give it the clip name, and we can say var, oh, whoops, I did that wrong. Var, or out var clip. Sorry, I typed that wrong. So actually what we want to say is if, because I'm using the try get value, if that's the case, so if we're able to get the value out, then do something, and which is going to be play the clip. So here what we'll do is audio source dot play one shot, and we'll play one shot the clip. Now I need to generate an audio source, so I'll hit Alt Enter, generate a field for it, and I'm going to make this an audio source. And I think what I'll do is just cache this instead of making a serialized field. I'll just cache it in the awake method. So right up here, I'll just say audio source equals get component audio source. All right, let's save that and do a quick build. And let's see, we've got that up. I think we should be good to go. Oh, one last thing I need to change. Let me think about it real quick. If we go to our part where we're playing the clip or we're getting the clip, remember I too lowered it when we add it to the dictionary, so I need to make sure that we're lowering it here too. So I'm going to say clip name dot to lower. There we go, and we'll build. So that should be enough if I go into Unity to actually hook it up and make it play an audio file when it gets to the right point. So let's try that out, and then we'll start downloading more audio, hooking it up, and kind of make it into an actual story. So I'm going to go over to my canvas where that script is. Remember, this is where my basic ink example script is. And now I have the audio clip section, which is a list. So it's got this option here for adding more clips to it. I'm just going to take my audio clip from the audio clips folder, drag it right onto here, right onto the word audio clips. It'll actually add it right in. I could also hit plus and just fill it in there. But that should be good. I should be able to, add an audio source here. There we go. Add an audio source to our canvas, because remember, this script is doing a get component call, which is going to find the audio source on the same game object and use that to play. And then I'll hit play and let's see if it works. I didn't hear anything yet, so let's see why not and see if we can figure out what's going on. So the first thing I want to do is go to the audio mixer. I already added an audio mixer here. If you don't have an audio mixer, all you got to do is go here, look empty, hit plus, and then you just call this main or new audio mixer or whatever you want. Then go to the canvas and go to the audio source. And here you've got an output option. You can actually just hit the search box to find your master mixer. And then you got a little box there so you can see when something's playing, just in case it's too quiet. Sometimes things are playing and they're going there and I don't see them because there's, an audio is muted somewhere or something else. So let's go to game view, uncheck maximize on play, and just play it and make sure that it's not actually playing the audio real quick. I'm pretty sure it's not though. And then we'll go through and debug how to fix it. Okay, so nothing's playing yet. So let's go see why that's not working, see if we can debug it and figure out what's going on. I'm sure we will. So here we are, we're in our play clip method. Let's go find the caller for this. So I'll click on the usages. We'll go right up here. Let's find play clip. Right here. So here we're looping through the tags. I'm going to add a breakpoint here at the tag loop, hit F5. We'll go back into Unity. I'll hit play. And then we should get stopped right at our breakpoint and then find the problem. My guess is that there's a simple little name mismatch or something else going on, or something that I missed in my parsing. Let's take a quick peek. So we're looping through the tags. Oh, story currently has, let's see, one tag, and it's clip.oh, hello guys. I added it's the number signs here, the hashtags, and those are not supposed to be there. They exist in the text. I always get them mixed up, but not inside the actual tag. So you don't get them back there because obviously it's like the tag header. Why would they put the header inside the tag? Silly Jason, right? Anyway, let's go try it again without the tag in there, or without the hashtag part in there. And then we should, I think, start hearing some NPCs beginning to talk.
Hello, Goblin.
Oh, I did.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
All right, there we go. So now it's actually playing. So now that I've got the first little bit of audio playing in there for our story, let's go add in some audio for the responses. And this is where I get a little bit fun because you start playing with the pitch and tone and other things in there. I'm going to go back into the replica tool. I'm going to switch the character now to be the one I want to use for the goblin. And I think I want to use the, where was the gray dude? Yeah, I'm going to use this
Hello,
guy.
stranger. Needing a new set of armor.
He's going to be our goblin. All right, so let's go to the goblin story text and start copying some of that out. Are you sure you want to do that now? There we go. We'll take that and we'll paste it in, I guess, right here.
Are you sure you want to do it now?
Let's see what the other options are.
Are you sure you want to do it now?
So we can go with happy for this one. Try it one more time.
Are you sure you want to do it now?
I'm going to change this.
Aye? Are you sure you want to do it now?
And yeah, I guess that'll be good. Well, let's see. Maybe we'll play with the pitch right now. Let's change the now pitch to plus 30%. Very high. See what it sounds like.
Aye. Are you sure you want to do it now?
Okay, that was too much. All right, we'll go to a 10%. Just a little bit high.
Aye. Are you sure you want to do it now?
There we go. And then we'll save that take and download it. So this will be the first one. And now I've changed the text. So watch what's going to happen. Let's see. Let's paste it in. Get rid of the spaces. Actually, hold on. Let's fix this text up. Capitalize these letters here. The Y, the W, the A. I got to make sure I don't spell it wrong. Oh, man. Voiceovers are a pain. All right, saved. That's the first text. And then let's get the other one. We're already in here. No reason to switch back and forth. So let's paste in the second one. And let's make this one sound like he's scared. Let's try it out.
I'm not sure I'm ready for a story.
There we go. We'll save that one. And download it. So this is the Replica Studios replica tool. Like I think everybody mentioned, I haven't checked, but I think people said that they get 30 minutes for free of audio. I mean, these clips are like 2 seconds. So as long as you're not writing out a giant story, you do quite a bit with it on the free plan. I'm barely into it. Let's see. Let's download that one. And download it as an MP3. And we'll paste it in. And I'm, again, just going to fix up the casing and the spacing here. Now, if you're doing a big, long story, matching the file name's obviously not going to match. And you're going to want to use a different naming structure. So don't try to do this and write out like anything that's longer than a file name or even a long file name. You don't want to get obnoxious. But doing little one-liners and stuff, I think they fit really well. Otherwise, you're going to have to come up with a slightly different naming scheme for like your NPCs and the characters and stuff, the way that you set them up. But anyway, we've got this one in. Let's go add in these other 2 clips now. So I'm going to go to my canvas again. I'm just going to go add them on as possible clips. Now, we could alternatively just scan the entire project or scan a folder for all of the clips or have another system that scans them. I generally, if we have a whole bunch of these, I probably wouldn't want, wouldn't want to have like the designers have to assign each one of these manually. So we want to automate that process so that you can just give it a folder or somewhere relative to find them. But this works for now with a small number of them. I mean, realistically, it would work with a large number of them too. But I just don't like having giant lists of things that I have to maintain. So if it got too big, I would probably change it. So I hit play now, and I'm only going to hear one.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
But I clicked on it and see nothing happened. The reason to remember is that we haven't added the clip or the tag into the text. So we need to go into the story and we need to add in our tag. So I'll say hashtag clip dot, and then let's just take this one first and then paste it in. I just paste in the file name because it matches. And I actually want to change the text here because I renamed or redid the text a little bit. And then I'll take the other one, copy that, go back in and paste that in as the clip tube. And we'll save that off. Go back into Unity. Let's try it again.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
Aye, are you sure you want to do it now?
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
I'm not sure I'm ready for a story.
So far, things are kind of working, right? I mean, it hopefully you're starting to understand how we can hook things up and start to make things happen out of dialogue. I want to do a little bit more though with the camera real quick because right now it's just like two guys standing there, and I want to make it a little bit more interactive. So I was thinking what we'll do is let's maybe just put in two cameras real quick. Or, let's just use let's pull in Cinemachine real quick. We'll do two virtual cameras and we'll just wait back and forth between them with a little tag. So I'll go into Window and go to Package Manager. And then let's go find Cinemachine. And I'm not going to find it right now because Packages is set to My Assets. So it's looking at the asset store stuff. Actually, I lied. It's going to find the old version of Cinemachine. I need to make sure that I go to Unity Registry and then just scroll down and find it instead of searching for it. I always forget that when I search for that, like, don't do that. It's going to find the asset one every time because the list is so short in the Unity Registry. I don't need to search. All right. Loading up. And be up any second. Yeah, people are talking in chat too about the price for the voiceover thing is really cheap too. Like at least compared to normal voiceovers that I've always gotten before, is way cheaper. It's a couple dollars for for many hours of text, and dialogue is not usually that long that you need a lot of it. Okay, we've got our Cinemachine package in. I'm gonna move this ink player window out of the way. It's kind of bugging me, and I'm gonna add in a camera. So I'll go to Game Object, Cinemachine, and we're gonna add in a virtual camera. I'm gonna move that to the demo scene down here. I'm gonna make this the primary scene. Let's set this as the active scene so we'll get the lighting there. I'm gonna put the camera here. I'm gonna what do I want to do with this main camera here? I'm gonna undo a couple times. Okay. Now I'm gonna make the demo scene the active scene. Let's see there. Okay, good. Let's save the active scene. Save everything, and I'm gonna add it into the demo scene. The game object, Cinemachine, virtual camera. There we go. I wanted it to just assign to the correct camera. I'll go find the VCam and I'll move it right here so that it's actually, let's make it so that it's kind of like this. Like an over the shoulder view. And then this will be the night VCam. And then I'll duplicate it and let's make a goblin VCam. So with the goblin VCam, it'll be like a shot maybe over here when he's talking, right? Okay, so save that off. Got my two cameras. Let's hit play and make sure that it's working right and see the correct camera. Just see one of these two VCams.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
Let's see what we're doing here. This one's solo real quick. Oh, there's another camera here.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
How is this camera right here? So what I think that the settings here got messed up. What are we doing here? Where's the clear settings? I'm getting distracted for a second there. Okay.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
Oh, there's another camera in there. I don't even need the camera in here.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
Aye, are you sure you want to do it now?
So the goal here is to have it do that. Basically do a switch. So it'll switch between them when we switch over to the right NPC. So let's go into the dialogue now. Let's add in some tags for it and then hook it up after I'm done looking at cameras like a weirdo for a minute. All right, we'll jump back into here and let's add in another tag. So the first tag I want to do is just say, hey, camera.goblin. And I don't, well, yeah, I guess I want it on this one too. Camera dot goblin. And then I want to add some text for a reply too. So let's do that now. Because I want to make the camera bounce back over to the knight. So are you sure you're ready to do it now? If they say yes, let's go in 2 spaces and say, okay, great. Let's get started. Grab a seat. I think that's good. That's amazing text, right? And then if they say no, we'll say, okay, go home then and make sure you hit like before you leave. That looks good. So we'll save this off. Oh, actually, I need to add it in my tags. We'll say camera dot night. And here we'll say camera dot night. So I've got all of my text written up. I need to generate the voiceovers, and we need to hook up this camera tag so that it actually swaps out the cameras. I think I want to start with hooking up the camera tag first because I've already done the voiceovers a couple times, and then we'll go through the voiceover process again. But make sure you hit the like button like this thing says before we go any further. So let's do it now. Let's jump into the code and hook up the camera tag. So if I go back into Unity, or back into Writer, I guess, not into Unity, what I could do here is just add in another if statement. Now, generally, as things like this start to get bigger, what I would want to do is start to pull this out. This tag processing would come out and become its own class, a class that starts processing different tags for dialogues. We're not quite at that point yet, though. We're still in kind of a demo intro part, so I don't want to overcomplicate it and separate it out too much. But I do want to make sure to note the point that while I am adding into this example class, if I was going to use this outside of today, longer term, I would definitely recreate this class from scratch and then start splitting some of those things out. Not because it necessarily needs it to work, but just so that it's easier for me to maintain long term. So let's go through the process of adding it in the slightly dirtier way, which is going to be just another if statement, or I say else if, because if it starts with clip, it definitely doesn't start with camera. So say else if tag dot starts with camera dot. Now the other thing, if you're wondering, like, could we just make this be an else? We definitely could. The only real benefit here of it being an else if is just that it makes it a little bit easier to make sure that I know what's going on here, that it's never going to be more than one. Not that it ever could, or not that there's a performance difference. It just makes it so that, oh yeah, this is just like an ugly looking switch doing a flip through here. So same thing. What would I do here? Just look at my cameras and find the camera that matches. So in fact, what I could probably do, because my cameras aren't file names and they're game object names, I could just say for each var, or here, let's say var all cameras equals find objects of type. And remember, I'm using virtual cameras. I'm using CMV cams. So I need to find a virtual cinema machine virtual camera. There we go. So we'll find all of the virtual cameras. And then we'll say var camera equals all cameras dot first or default, which is going to use the link query. So if you don't have the using system dot link up here, you'll have to add it or just automatically add it. I think it's automatically there in this one though. Pretty sure they're using link in a few places. They do all cameras dot first or default, and we'll use a lambda statement to do the name check. So we do t, which is going to check each item in there as t, with t dot name double equals, and then we need the camera name. Now I don't have the camera name, so I just put in a variable for it, and then we'll create the camera name. So I'll go up here and I'll say our camera name equals, and it's going to be the same as this tag substring thing, except instead of using the word clip, we're going to use camera dot. So I'll just copy it. Copy that, paste it, and we'll take this clip and replace it with camera. So here you might start to see where we've got opportunity to refactor and restructure, and why I said that I would start to turn this into a class, because we're getting to have reusable code. We're starting to have quite a bit of reusable code, or repeatable code, or repeated code, and it could definitely start to get refactored as we build in more and more tags. With 2 tags, maybe it doesn't matter. But we get 3, 4, 5, 10 tags. We would definitely want to have classes handling that instead of one big if-else statement. So here we've got the camera name. We can find the camera. If the camera is not null, then we could just set the camera priority. I've set it to maybe 100. Now there's one issue. If we do this, it's going to set the priority up high on on our camera, but it's never going to set it back down lower. So the way that camera priority works, let's go look in Unity real quick. So the way it works is whatever virtual camera in Cinemachine has the highest priority is going to get the view. So if I turn this up to, say I turn the night one up to 100, it's going to switch to be on. In fact, it's hard to see it if you're not playing. Let's hit play real quick and just actually see it in action.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
So,
Aye, are you sure you want to do it now?
here. Okay, so here we're on the night VCam, and you can see the priority set to 10. I'm going to go to the Goblin VCam, set the priority up to 100. You see that it switches over to the Goblin. But if I set the night up to 100, oh, it actually switched back. But now there's no way for me to go back to the Goblin. So say I wanted to switch back to the Goblin, Goblin's still at 100. So what I need to do is make sure that the priorities actually get reset for everybody that's not the one that I want focused, and then just make that one focused. So I'm going to go back into Unity, or back into Writer. Why do I keep saying Writer? Unity. And instead of doing it this way with the first or default, I'm going to loop through all the cameras. So I'll say for each bar camera in all cameras. And remember, this isn't actually all the cameras. It's all the virtual cameras. So I'll loop through them all, and I'll say camera.priority equals, and then we'll say camera.name double equals camera name question mark 100 colon 10. So I'm going to delete that extra stuff out real quick, and then we'll talk about what this is, what it does, how it works, and why it might look weird for some people who've never seen this syntax before. So we're going to loop through all of the cameras that we found with our virtual camera find objects text. Just going to find them all. Then we're going to set the priority to one of two values. And the way that works is we're going to evaluate this part, the part before the question mark here. We're going to evaluate this to be either true or false. But the system is going to automatically evaluate this. If this is true, then the answer is, or the thing that it's going to use is the first value after the question mark. So it'll be 100. If it's false, it'll use 10. So I can remove these parentheses. I don't need them there. They're just for extra clarity. That's why they were kind of grayed out. But essentially what it's going to do is set the priority to 100 if it's the matching camera name, and 10 if it's not. We'll save that off. We're going to go, let's see, do I need to do anything else? Let's see. I've got my cameras. I've got camera dot. Let's go into Unity and make sure that our camera names match. They don't. So let's call this, how do I want to name these? Let's think about this for a moment. Because I've got camera.night and camera.goblin. And here I've got night.vcam, night vcam, and goblin vcam. I probably don't want to name these just night and just goblin. I think I want to leave the vcam on them, but I'm not sure if I want to do that with I'm just gonna leave it in the name for now, and I'm not gonna strip it out. So I'm gonna get rid of the space here. I'll make it, actually let's call it night camera. Or let's call it night cam and goblin cam. I think that'll work. I'm okay with putting that into my text file. I just don't like having to put the cam here at the end of each of these. I think that I'd like to have it maybe come up with a slightly better naming structure later. But for now, I think this will work. So we'll use camera.goblin cam, .night cam. Let's make sure that it starts on night cam as well, just in case it's not. And let's try that out. I should expect to now see the camera swapping back and forth between the two characters as they chat.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
Aye, are you sure you want to do it now?
Didn't work. Okay, let's go see why. So we'll stop playing. We'll go find our script. We'll open it up and we'll debug again. So let's hit a breakpoint right here. We'll add a breakpoint on line 67. And we'll see what I messed up. Oh, I wonder if it's I don't know. Well, let's hit play and find out. A lot easier than just trying to guess.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
All right, we played that part. So we've got our camera name. It's looking for night cam. We've got all of our cameras. There are two. Find the first one. First one is named Goblin Cam, so its priority is going to get set to 10. And the second one should be named Night Cam, and I expect its priority to get set to 100. Okay, so that actually did work. Okay, let's see if it went to the Goblin Cam, though. So we were good on the first one, but that didn't help me. Oh, I just remembered.
Aye, are you sure you want to do it now?
I think let's see. Got my Goblin Cam here. Got our all cams. Let's see, camera name. Yep, switching to Goblin Cam. Go through all cameras. Oh, yep, it's setting to 100. Oh, I know what's happening. it's going right back to night cam. Watch. Let's add another breakpoint here. Night cam. Yep. It's because of the text that I put into here. So let's go take a peek at it. So what's actually happening here is when we do our text, right? So I say, hey, are you sure you want to do it right now? And we start playing that audio clip, and we start playing the camera here. Then we're immediately going on to the next thing. Now we're not noticing it in the audio because we're not playing a clip for this one. So we actually need to wait until that audio clip is done playing before we move on to the next part and switch to the camera. But first, let's add in the audio clip for the second part so we can hear the breaking and then go through the process of fixing it real quick. So let's, I guess, stop the debug real quick. We'll jump back into, let's see. Well, first, let's go grab the clips. The audio clips. That's step one. So, okay, great. Let's get started. Grab a seat. We'll take that. And I'm going to go back into replica. And this is going to be under this is the night voice. That's the Deckard guy. So switch back to Deckard. DDD. There we go. This is our guy. I'm going to paste in our text. And we'll play it real quick.
Okay, great. Let's get started. Grab a seat.
Okay, let's say this may be a little lightheaded.
Okay, great. Let's get started. Grab a seat.
That seems a little bit better. Oh, I'll take that. Download it, and we'll save that off into the same folder. And can I just paste it in? Yep, there we go. Let's fix up the casing again. I'm going to get rid of the period again because we can't have periods in file names. And we'll get rid of the comma. And I think that's good. I'm going to copy that file name out, save it off. And then I'm going to add that in as the clip here. So it doesn't matter the order that the tags are in, but I'm going to keep them consistent just so that it's easier for me to read and see. I've got the first one there. Now I'm going to take the second clip and generate that as well. Copy that. Go back into replica. We'll paste it in. I'm just going to hit play. Hopefully this is good.
Okay, go home then and make sure you hit like before you leave.
Actually, let's make him angry.
Okay, go home then and make sure you hit like before you leave.
That sounds better. We'll save that off and download it as an MP3. I think you probably wouldn't really want to mix up your tones too much randomly. You probably have a better use for them, but I'm having fun with them. Capitalize all these words. Yeah, capitalize that one. We're almost done with all those. Okay, we'll copy all that text, save it off, and then go add that as the other clip. So clip, dot, and paste. Now I'm going to expand this out a little bit more so you can see it. There we go. Because the text is getting a little bit long with all of these tags. One thing I've noticed is that I do tend to make very long tags too. People probably like to have shorter tag names than I do, but I tend to make them pretty long. All right, now let's go try it out and hear it actually break. We should no longer hear our cool goblin talking, is my expectation. Oh, whoop, I lied. First, I need to go add in the audio clips. Let's go take the other two, the two okay ones, and play.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story. Okay, great.
Are you sure
Let's get
you want
started.
to do it now?
Grab a seat.
See, they're talking over each other. So that's the problem. So what I want to do now is make it so that we can actually wait for the dialogue to finish playing before continuing on with the story. Let's go through and let's see, where do we want to do that? I'm going to collapse that part down. And I guess it's going to be in our, let's see. So click our choice. We're going to play our listener. We're going to continue the story. We're going to get to right here. And I guess what we do is make, well, let's see, refresh view. We could just make it asynchronous. And then we could, I'm just trying to think through how I want to do this now. A bunch of different options, but without like rewriting the whole system. I'm trying to think through what's the easiest way to change this. I think that what I want to do is just make this asynchronous, make this act like a coroutine, and then have it just yield until the audio clip is done playing. So to do that, we change the return type from void to IEnumerator. Not with the generic though, so let's get rid of that and add a using statement. So it needs the using system.collections. I think it only had generic before, so I'm going to remove the system.link statement that I added earlier too, because I don't need that. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so now it's an IEnumerator, which means that we can no longer call refresh view just like that. We instead need to call start coroutine of refresh view. So kick it off as a coroutine. And then we need to, let's see, in here, while we're waiting for the story to continue, we continue on. We're going to loop through. And then I guess while the audio source dot is playing, will yield return null. So while the story can continue and the audio source is playing, we'll wait until the audio source is done, then we'll continue on. Now I just need to find the other places where we call refresh view. There's at least one other spot. So right here in on click choice button, we need to, I guess, kick off this refresh view as a coroutine again. So we'll call start coroutine on refresh view. I think that's gonna work and be good. I don't think I actually need to do anything else with that. Coroutines make some of this stuff pretty simple. Let's hit play and see if that fixed it.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
Aye, are you sure you want to do it now?
Okay, great. Let's get started. Grab a seat.
I'm not sure I'm ready for a story.
Okay, go home then and make sure you hit like before you leave.
All right, so it pretty much worked. The only thing that's a little bit different is these dashes made the story feel a little bit weird. So I picked the first choice and it went on to the second choice and continued. If I get rid of those dashes though, then it should just kind of end after the first choice. So let's try
Hello,
that one again.
Goblin. It's time to start our story.
Aye, are you sure you want to do it now?
Okay, great. Let's get started. Grab a seat.
And then the story ends.
Hello, Goblin. It's time to start our story.
I'm not sure I'm ready for a story.
Okay, go home then and make sure you hit like before you leave.
So there you go. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful. Somebody's asking if I have a referral code for Replica. No, they're not a sponsor or anything. They're just a really cool tool, and they reached out and shared it with me, showed it to me, and I thought it was awesome. So yeah, I'd definitely go check it out. It's pretty neat. The ink system is really cool too. I just like them both, and the fact that you can kind of combine them together. So I mean, I could keep writing story and keep adding in more things, but I gotta end this relatively soon. So I'm going to really quickly see if anybody had any questions, and I'll just hit the questions real quick and then wrap this up, and then maybe do some more videos on this kind of stuff later. I'm doing a whole dialogue system and some of the new coursework that all my existing students are going to be in, and be releasing info about that later on this week, or this weekend actually, because we're at the end of the week. But if you guys have questions about just the dialogue system stuff, the voiceovers, or any of the stuff we've done today, just let me know real quick in chat. I'll take a quick peek, see if I can answer them real quick, and help you guys build this stuff out. I did want to talk, just while I'm waiting for questions, about the idea of using assets like this in your project. So like using things like ink or some other dialogue system. Like, would you use them? Should you use them in your games? And I mean, we talk about this a lot on the Sunday show about just regular game development and real professional development. And I would say most definitely you should definitely look at using systems for your games for just about anything where it makes sense. It doesn't make sense for everything. Like the core part of your game probably shouldn't be some asset or some system, because that's like the thing that's setting your game aside, but maybe it is. But in general, most of the things in your game aren't the core part of your game, and they're the thing that like you need to get done to make the fun of the game possible. And I wouldn't go about building every type of system. Like this dialogue system has all kinds of branching and continuing and conditional checks. You can do lots of things. You can make it so that choices can only be picked once, that choices can be picked multiple times, that there are variables in the story that you're incrementing and decrementing and checking against. so that options are only available like if you have enough faction with the NPC or something like that. Very, very easy to hook all that stuff up, and you don't have to code too much yourself. So I really recommend using systems like this or some other systems in your games just to speed up development and get the game done instead of trying to create everything from scratch. In every professional game I've ever worked on, we've used pre-built middleware systems. They're just, a lot of the time before they were always packaged up as $500,000 systems that we paid ridiculous amounts for. Not that they weren't worth it, but we paid a lot for them. Now they're just really cheap, so I think it makes people a little more wary of them. All right, so should the whole NPC dialogue script be in a coroutine if possible? I don't know necessarily that it needs to because it it is more like a state machine. I feel like for the dialogue than anything else. So it doesn't necessarily need it. It just really needs the coroutine or some asynchronousness when it's dealing with things that are happening in sequence. But you could set it all up as a single coroutine too. What about dialog boxes? Can Ink make something like that? Yeah, I mean you could just use the same thing instead of so if I was gonna do a dialog box, what I would do is let's see, go into my Ink, and I would probably just make it have like a hashtag dialog dot night or whatever, and then have it show up on the actual night's dialogue. Or I could have it be like a hashtag dialogue dot this or hashtag dial. So say like it's an NPC where like it's just me talking to NPCs and there's a bunch of different NPCs. Then I might do something like that where it makes it pop up as a dialogue bubble or something or chat bubble or something. And then what I would do is instead of instantiating the code, let's go into here where we instantiate the choice buttons, the choice view right here where we create the prefabs, and just make that or not the choice text, sorry. I lied, the content text. Where we instantiate the content text, instead I would just like change the text of the chat bubble object that's attached to a canvas over the NPC. So you get the same flow and stuff, you just have to decide where you're gonna put the text. Right here, it just instantiates a prefab again. Not the way I would do it. I would always set text and change it instead. But yeah, you could definitely hook it up to chat bubbles pretty easily. But if you're a step away from using game object names, camera names, how would you set that up with camera to tag mapping? I would definitely consider maybe even just using tags, just going in and adding in actual tags, or having a camera manager that just has all of the cameras and the tags associated with them with some ID. But I would consider just using tags or objects or scripts on them, maybe some custom script, depending on how many cameras and systems I actually need. If it's just going to be 2 or 4 or something, I'm going to keep it simple. If it's going to get to be a lot where designers are adding a whole bunch, I may just add in an editor script that adds in another script to the cameras or the VCams or something to manage that. Let's see. What else we got here? Is it possible to pick an option by doing something? Most definitely. So the way that picking an option is done right now in here is by clicking on a button, and that's using this create choice view. So it's looping through all the choices, making a button for each one. And then when you click on the button, it's calling, let's see, actually, let's go find the create choice view call where it's actually called from, which is right here. So it creates the view and then it adds the on click listener. So it's just using the Unity default button and you call on click.add listener to add in a callback. The callback is this on click choice button, which just says, hey, story.choose choice index. So as long as you have a way to get at the choice and the choice is index, you can just call story.choose choice index from anything. It could be from like killing an NPC, picking up an item, tapping a random key on the keyboard, whatever it's bound to. Just have to call the right thing. So it doesn't have to be a button at all. Somebody asked if Ink has localization and language switches. I do not know. Sorry. That's something I'm sure about. There's a whole bunch of information on their page. So they got all kinds of stuff. What would be the approach to add dialogues to chat bubbles for 2D game? Oh, okay. I think I just kind of talked a little bit about that. Maybe I'll do another video about it though, if people are interested, make like a 2D game with some chat bubbles or something. I think that's all for the questions. So I'm going to wrap it up now and just beg everybody to please share the stream out on Facebook or wherever you share streams and make sure that you hit the like, subscribe, and all that button, or just drop a comment down below saying that it was useful or what it wasn't useful or what other types of things you want to have or whatever. YouTube just likes commenting, and it helps me, gives me something to read during the day. Anyway, thanks again, everybody. Appreciate y'all being out here. Hopefully this is again helpful. Check out the other video, hit the like button, all that stuff. Um, Check out the course stuff down below. And oh, why don't I use dark mode? It's a good question. I use it now in Unity, but not in the code editor, just because it blinds me. Mostly because I have so many lights on to keep everything lit up for the cameras. Anyway, thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all being here, and I'll see you all soon. Oh, make sure you're subscribed for Sunday too. We'll be back talking about more game development stuff. All right, bye, everybody.